So for those who are curious, I know this is not what I wanted to be known for, but people have been asking me a lot of questions about exactly what's going on with my skin. And the answer is possibly two different things. So last year I was treated for a skin infection, and I think it stopped bleeding. Yeah, that one was bleeding after my shower. I was treated for a skin infection. There was issues with the doctors. I don't need to go into the long details of it, but there's a lawsuit pending, and I am not a person who jumps to lawyers. This is out of character for me, but it's significant and important enough with this one to take it that far. And I also did have to contact the ADA and the Department of Justice regarding some of the situations with this skin infection I developed. Not because of the infection, but because of the doctors. There was a situation, hold on, my dog's all wrapped up, where it basically equated to malpractice as well as ADA violations. Come on, Juju, you gotta go around. Go in, through. No, you gotta go through. Yes, come on, no, all the way through, all the way through, all the way through, all the way through, no, around, all the way through. Oh, you are intentionally tying yourself up now. Come on. Oh, geez. Anyhow, no, he is looping himself around on three. So, anyhow, the doctor not only did not do his job with the examination, he went so far as to actually falsify records and insult me and belittle me, and literally told my service dog to bite me. So, between that and being denied access to an emergency room because I had my service dog with me, I quickly lost confidence in that medical facility. So I did get all of my doctors changed over, which was rather difficult because I'm complicated. And it popped back up. And it popped back up under specific circumstances of heat and activity. And so I decided, well, I've got another clue. It pops up when I have something that triggers my autoimmune diseases, that makes my inflammation go up, and it triggers under heat and activity over a certain temperature. So I go in to this new doctor at this new medical facility. All these pictures, all of this documentation literally has been going on since October of last year. They either agree with the sort of conclusion I came to yesterday doing my own personal research, or it is something that very few people have ever heard of. So one of the options is that it is something that is simply referred to as fungal acne. Now, it's not what it sounds like. It's not actually acne. What it is everybody has bacteria that live on their skin, and they have a purpose and they do a job. It's not like, oh my God, we're all gross, we're all covered in bacteria. No, they have a purpose, they do a job. Our skin is also covered in yeast, naturally occurring yeast. Now, the bacteria and the yeast are in an age-old war. They fight each other, they kill each other off, and they keep each other in balance so that everything stays normal. Now, most likely what happened is I did have originally a bacterial infection on my face. But because of doctor's negligence and his actions, I was never properly examined, and this other issue continued. Now, the problem with this is, if it is fungal acne, what that is that means that the yeast that is naturally occurring on my skin got into the wounds that easily appear on my face because I have I have a condition where my skin is exceptionally fragile. I bruise very easily. My skin breaks very easily. I am just a delicate creature. And so what happens is that yeast, if it gets out of balance, if you have an autoimmune issue, if you're on antibiotics, if you have a diet change, if you have a lifestyle change, there's so many things that can trigger everything to sort of go out of whack. So what happened is I was literally going through the most stressful and intense point in my life. I was being diagnosed with narcolepsy. I was finding out that my mother was a covert narcissist. I was learning secrets from my past that I was not aware of. And people were coming into my life that randomly disappeared from my childhood, and I didn't know why, saying, "Oh, thank God, now I can talk to you." In the middle of being diagnosed with narcolepsy and finding out that my mother was a narcissist, finding out the level of my abuse and neglect, cutting myself off from my entire family, learning that I have numerous medical conditions that she hid from me, things that just deeply devastated my ability to function as a person. Not only did she hide them, she used them as weapons. Also, I have to apologize because this actually bothers me when I watch people, but I have to. I don't like that I have to chew gum all the time, but unfortunately one of my conditions, one of my medications give me severe dry mouth, so this is actually gum to help me maintain saliva. So I apologize if it bothers you, because I know it would bother me. It bothers me seeing it on this vlog record. Anyhow, so in the middle of all this, you know, things happen, and my skin developed this infection, and by the time I was treated, it was something different. So, by giving me antibiotics for a second and a third time, and in creams and in ointments and in pills, what they were actually doing is making my body kill off more of that beneficial bacteria, making the infection worse. And it flares up in heat and activity. So my personal opinion is that this is a fungal infection caused by my autoimmune disorders and an overgrowth of yeast on my skin. However, my doctors don't entirely agree. There is another option, because of course I would have something that is exceptionally rare and unfortunate and incurable and more bullshit. But there's a very real possibility that this is something called BP. And I don't know how to pronounce it. It's it's a long, it's 2 words. It's big. It's unfortunate. Basically what it is it's an autoimmune condition. It would be another autoimmune condition, another inflammatory condition. It's basically something that causes a problem between your layers of skin. You get inflammation between, I think, your dermis and your epidermis. I don't know. I haven't really read, but he said most people, they build up blisters. And he said that my wounds look like these blisters after they burst. Well, I don't build up blisters. Not really. I mean, sometimes when one of these things ruptures, it's like there's like a blood blister, like it's blood under there. But it's not big. It's not like a big giant yellow blister like I was seeing in some of the images. But the reality is, I have Ehlers-Danlos. Ehlers-Danlos is a connective tissue disorder. It affects my collagen. It makes me look way younger than I am. I am way more flexible than I should be. And I'd show you, but I'd end up flashing my neighbors. And nobody can guess my age on the first try. I'm super bendy to the point of injury. That includes my skin. So the truth is, this could be BP. And my skin just isn't strong enough to get to the point where it has blisters. So there are two treatments. One for BP, which is just a steroid cream. Basically, I would have to put a steroid cream on my face or wherever it pops up for the rest of my life. Stay out of the sun, stay out of the heat. Oh, and don't sweat in humid PA. The other option is another ointment. Problem is, the second ointment would treat both. My doctor doesn't want to treat me for fungal acne until he knows it's not BP. So for the next week, I am putting on an ointment that may or may not do a goddamn thing except reduce swelling. But it at least reduces swelling, and by doing that, it does reduce pain. Sorry, my puppy is hunting bugs. Good boy. So, hopefully in the next week or so, you will see improvement. And hopefully within a few weeks, I'll be back to my normal, happy, smiling, chipper self. And I won't feel like cheapo Harvey Dent. So, anyhow, I love you all. If you have any questions about any of my conditions, I am always welcome to answer anybody's questions. I am open, I'm accessible. Please don't ever hesitate to reach out. I'm a normal nobody person just like everybody else. So, and I don't mean nobody. We're all somebody special. But, you know what I mean. So, yeah, say hi, ask me questions. Geez, if you wanted to, if you're curious, some of the things that I have are, see the physical, hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos, postural orthostatic tachycardia, celiac disease, Hashimoto's, fibromyalgia, I have a history of spinal meningitis and encephalitis. I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. I have scoliosis. I have narcolepsy, one with cataplexy. I think that's most of the physical ones. And, you know, potentially BP. Oh, I also realized this is most likely what they diagnosed as seborrheic dermatitis, which I get every summer in a crown on my head. So I think it's actually whatever this is, which makes me nervous. And then as far as the other stuff, I of course have CPTSD, so I do have complex PTSD. I have dysgraphia, so those are, I am dyslexic. The narcolepsy does make me neurodivergent, but I also do believe that I have always been a high-functioning autistic. I have acute anxiety, severe depression, agoraphobia. I have flashbacks. I have nightmares. I have periodic limb movement syndrome. I'm a mess. But you know what I am? I'm a stubborn-ass fighter. And really, that's all you need to be to survive in this world. You don't have to let things make you upset. I had a medical student today just apologizing up and down for things that I have experienced in my life. And I just kept telling her, it's okay, it's okay. Life doesn't always hand you what you want. Sometimes it hands you what you need. Sometimes it hands you a lesson that you are just not ready to learn yet. When you don't learn that lesson, you find that problem coming up in your life over and over and over again. The world finds a way to teach you what it wants you to know. Whatever important lesson is yours for the day. I like to call myself stubborn. Really, I think that in this day, I'm supposed to learn resilience. I'm supposed to learn joy. I'm supposed to learn how to see how beautiful life is, despite being handed a shit deck. So, from this pack of 32 cards with 7 jokers, I love you. You're perfect the way you are. Who really wants to play solitaire anyway?